All right, thanks for joining us. So I'm Alan Taylor with the Alan Taylor Real Estate Group, and I'm here today with a very special guest. His name is Ben Mack. Ben has a master's in social work and is an in-home care consultant with JFS. And today, for those of you that live in Sherman Oaks or Encino or Studio City or other areas in Los Angeles, and you may have an elderly parent living at home, you're probably thinking about, what's their future living situation going to look like, right? Are they going to stay at home and are they going to live at home and live with care at home, or are they going to move to an assisted living facility or another option? So,
Right.
anyways, bringing on on our guest Ben today to help us, learn a little bit more about aging in place and what their company does. Some of the, I guess, hurdles or obstacles, pitfalls. So he'll talk about the pros and cons of both, moving out and going to a facility, staying home, what the cost of care is, how that all works, insurance coverage. Just we're gonna pick his brain and we're gonna have some fun and see what we can learn about that. So Ben, thanks for joining us. My first question is, tell me a little bit about JFS and what you guys do.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for having me on. Nice to be here, man. Let's see. So JFSLA is the oldest nonprofit in Los Angeles. Um, Today, we serve a pretty wide range of our community members. We provide services to the community in all different shapes, sizes, colors, forms, etc. We are a non-denominational organization, and really my focus is on the elder care arm of what we do. I kind of assist with three buckets or three business units under JFS, all related to elder care. So we provide care management through a team of care managers who are essentially master's level patient advocates. We provide in-home care through JFS Care, which is a licensed agency. We serve between 250 and 300 clients a week at JFS. And the third bucket would be Care Family, which is this little guy. Care Family is the
What's
newest.
Care Family? Yeah.
Yeah, it's our newest business unit. It's a pretty cool one. I like what we do here. This is essentially a platform for individuals and families to hire the best caregivers from across the U.S. to live in with them at their homes at a substantial cost savings over typical home care. So, uh,
So interesting. So how do you guys work? Like, if I have a client that, let's say, is the son or daughter of a elderly person living in a home and they're trying to weigh their options, I assume we would call you and you guys would do the consulting for the son or daughter or the elderly parent who's living and give them their options with respect to in-home care. Is that right?
yeah, that's a good way to think about it. It's a little cliche, but no family is the same, no individual is the same. Everyone has their kind of ways that they wish that their future would be, regardless of age, background, religion, sex, etc. And so that kind of assessment, meeting someone where they're at, having a pretty candid conversation about where we are and where we're looking to go is a big part of it. Um, so yeah, the assessing piece is a big one. We meet everyone we work with in person. We want them to see and feel us and understand, where we come from so we can better assist them.
But I mean, but you'll consult on in terms of like the physical cost, right? Like the actual cost or what that looks like, right? Because I think I'm guessing there's a lot of people that are not really sure how much care they need. Is it 24 hours? Is it overnight? Is it, whatever? So how do you guys work with yeah, how do you guys work with your clients?
Yeah, it's really about like first of all, good care today, right now, especially in the US, is expensive. The way that our third-party payer system's set up, the way that Medicare is organized, we have not gotten to a place where we recognize that home care is an extremely valuable tool in creating wellness and creating longevity. Like it's okay to raise our hand and say that we're at a certain age and we need a little bit of assistance to be well at home. Um, and so whether it's Care Family, JFS Care for the, agency or for the care management or a combination of all three, Um, the cost of care is always front and center. And right now, um, the types of families that we work with, they range from there's a huge spectrum of who our clients are and what they want. And I feel like from where we're at, like home care is going to undergo a ton of change in the next like 5 and 10 years, simply because there are a lot of people that need care of different ways, whether that's engagement, a little bit of social stim, if they have a smaller social circle or limited family support, all the way to, having caregivers 24/7, where your needs might be, a little more acute, right? You might need to be you might need help with eating or preparing meals or dressing, doing some of those ADLs that are extremely important
But
to keep you
interesting.
well.
Interesting. I heard you say something I didn't quite understand. So it sounded like there's customized plans and like, I heard you say, let's say they're self-sufficient, but they need a little bit of interaction. So it sounds like maybe you might have somebody that could go over there and play cards and talk or hang or whatever.
Yeah, that's
All the way to maybe picking them up and taking them to like one generation or something, or
exactly. Yeah, and the day programs are fantastic. One Generation's fantastic. We have many clients enrolled at Opeka, which is also a fantastic program. Um, yeah, it's Alan. It's really, a caregiver isn't just an unskilled medical nurse, right? They come in on just like we have our, you know, we have the qualities that we look for in the people that we want to spend time with. They have their strengths and weaknesses too, right? Some caregivers are really chatty and social, and they really want to bring out the best in their clients. And, they want to play cards. They might want to go to the beach, right? They might want to go to the movies or a museum. Um, we have an engagement program specifically for those type of activities, which is pretty cool. And that's within like the home care, JFS care side of the business. Um, and then there are folks who, need to be extremely strong because they're going to be doing partial lifts for, heavier older adults, and they need to have extremely good knowledge of body mechanics and where their feet need to be
wow,
placed. It's really a huge
wow,
spectrum.
wow. It's so funny to hear. I mean, it's not funny. It's just like so interesting to have this conversation with you and learn about all this stuff, like the fact that you would need to have a certain person that has some kind of kinesiology understanding to help people lifting. And I mean, all these different, like, someone who's into going to the museum, like matching people up for the care that your clients need is makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and like, Alan, it's kind of like how do you pick a really good realtor, right? How do you pick a really good professional in real estate? Like there's how do you do that? I think I would ask you that question, but how do you pick an elder care professional? How do
Right.
you
You
figure
get
out?
you meet and get to know and you figure out what the client needs and you match it with the
Now
service.
we're talking.
Yeah.
So you can't just insert anyone into any situation and say, here's a caregiver, like have a good day.
Right.
Um, there's a lot of nuance and understanding and emotion that's involved in this process. So part of that is having a good team behind you, whether it's Care Family or JFS. We have people who care and are really driven to go to the nth degree to provide a certain level of care. Um, it's kind of like feeling I get from you and how you might work with your clients, but um, you know, I guess if I flip that around on you, Alan, like, for my families that I work with, for the clients that I serve, um, would you have any advice for them about, how to pick a professional and like how to kind of wade through that? Because I think that that's what I hear is that can be intimidating if someone's looking to move and maybe looking to, downsize a bit or move to an AL or assisted living, right? Or even a board and care. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, sure. I mean, I think like it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. It's about, understanding what your client's vision is for their future, right? As opposed to trying
Mm,
to, sell what you think somebody might want, right? It's really, talking to the family members, getting a real handle and an understanding as to what their vision of their future looks like.
right.
And, sometimes they may be a little bit naive and not really quite understand all of the different options that are out there. And I think as a real estate practitioner, I think that's why it's great having great vendors, and not vendors but professionals like yourself,
Yeah.
who we can refer to our clients, and they can have these meaningful discussions and kind of dig into what their future is going to look like.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
um, at least that's been our experience. And of course there's the options for assisted living, and it seems like most of our clients, not most, but I shouldn't say most, I guess it's probably a little more than 50% are like, I'm not moving, you're gonna have to carry me out of here, right? And
Yeah.
of course some of those clients get to the point where they're like, I can't stay here anymore, and
Right.
just
Right.
I want to get on the big old cruise ship and get meals made for me, and I just want to go downstairs and play cards, and I don't want to think about anything.
That's right. I want to relax. I want to
And
chill.
those
Yeah.
and though you get some of these, and so you have a lot of those, but like the ones that want to stay at home, it's like it's sad because a lot of times everything goes right. Their health goes, the condition of the house goes, and it depends on who their support circle is, and like if they have family members close by. But when an elderly person seems to get to a certain age, they just kind of give up on their home and stuff like that. So I always try to tell my clients who are going to do that, hey, you might want to get the systems updated, take over the maintenance responsibility. When's the last
Right.
time you
Right.
you know? Um,
And that can be tough.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Like
it's like,
it's a tough conversation, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, Alan, we're talking about someone who's changing in state, right? Their identity is
yeah,
changing. Um,
that's the
and-
hardest. And
yeah,
I mean, I've got a few of them right now where, you know, I'm pretty much told I'm the real estate agent, but they just can't pull the trigger. It's just like, and I remember being in the room with one of them, and she's just like, you know what, I just don't want to cook anymore. I just don't want to prepare. I don't want to do anything. You know what I mean?
we're
She's
over it. We're over
read her
it.
book, sleep in, wake up, exercise, read her book, go in the garden, go sit down, have a plate of food put in front of her, have her and her husband taken care of, and just not worry about stuff anymore and just chill. That
Right.
those are the ones that want to, move. And then there's those that are just like, I cannot see myself in a million years moving to a common thing with a bunch of, I don't want to walk down the hall and
Totally.
look at a
Yeah.
bunch of 80 and 90-year-olds. It's going to make me feel old. I want my independence. I want to stay home. And I think that's where JFS and, that's why you guys are such a great partner for us, because we can, hand you, introduce our clients to you guys and have you guys give them the realities and the cost, and of what
Right.
it's like to age a place.
Right. And Alan, like you said, that like to be honest with you, it really goes both ways. You need to really be interested in understanding someone. You need to be interested in, you know, really what the drivers are for the frustrations, the negative, like what's not right, to understand like what is the right move for the future, right? So these things that are nagging at, like you gave a great example of someone just wanting to kind of have less responsibility at home. And let's be real, when you're older, and if you have forgetting mobility issues or cognitive issues, right? We're not even talking about that. Just getting older and wanting to feel more relaxed, feel like you have less load, mental, physical, social, right? Everybody has a different picture of where they'd like to be. So whether it's that cruise ship environment that you were talking about, where you come and go, you read your book, you exercise, you do what you want to do, right? Whatever that looks like. Or if it's I'd like to be home and in solace and maybe with a pet. And,
Yeah,
is really
and just
important
chill.
to me. This is what fills
Yeah, but
me.
so what do you guys do then? I heard you say something about having somebody come over and play cards or whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously, I do a lot of community work, and I'm always out in my farms. It's a farming, meaning you adopt the neighborhood and stuff. So I'm always bumping
Right.
into elderly people, and all the neighbors know them. It's like, I remember when I lived in my house, we were friendly with the neighbors next door. I wouldn't say we went over there all the time, but like, my little ones would throw the ball over there, and we'd go over there, knock on the door, and be like, "Hey, Katie, how are you?" and stuff like that. And of course,
Yeah, for sure.
they had their caregivers in the house. But for the most part, and it did get to be 24 hours, but it was just the two of them and the two caregivers in the home, and that was like their little family unit.
That's nice.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
um, so, so if you don't mind, what would you recommend? Somebody who has a parent that wants to live at home and age in place, and spend the rest of their days in their home. What advice would you give them? Um, what advice would you give them?
This is a great question, Alan. I think more often than not, when I'm meeting with a family, it's in a reactive fashion,
Mm.
right? And so we're meeting in a way where, hey Ben, nice to meet you. Meet my mom, meet my dad. Dad had a hip replacement after a fall 2 weeks ago. We're worried that he, may not be able to be at home and be independent and be well.
Almost
Or
like no, there's no planning. It's just like kind of a, oh, we got to deal with this now.
it's like the urgency levels through the roof, right? And what I would say to the kids of the children of these folks who are aging is like I this is more of a selfish thing, but I love to see kids planning. It's not a sexy thing to talk about. The costs for care are a little higher today than they've ever been before.
Forget sexy. Talk about painful, man. Are you kidding me? Talking to your
Okay,
parents about having a kid. Oh my God, kid
that's
talking
right.
to their parents about what they're going to do and how they're going to do things.
A little role reversal for you, huh? Yeah, it can be hairy.
Yeah. Sorry, I
And
didn't mean to
so
cut you off. You were going somewhere, which was
no,
probably
no, it's okay. It's okay.
valuable to our users or to our viewers, and then I cut you off. But keep going.
No, it's like, people think of home care agencies or elder care services as like, this is really, I'm only going to do this if I really need it.
Yeah,
And what I would encourage is, to become like a very baseline student of what this is. What does it cost? How does it work? When I need it, what do I do? Are there products or professionals that can help me do this in a better way? Take 30 minutes or 60 minutes and talk to your local agency, talk to a social worker.
start
Great.
figuring it out. Start at least arm yourself with information. Right.
Yeah, and like, by the way, like I'm saying like a lot in this piece. By the way, one thing that home care agencies are great at is they have a lot of knowledge. If you work with hundreds of families a month, um, you're gonna have seen like all the full spectrum of need, right? For an organization like JFS Care, there's only maybe 25 or 30 different iterations of home care that you could possibly come out with as a client or as someone we're serving, right? So I think not only does it pave the way for having an educated conversation with your parents or your client's parents, right? But what it does is it removes that notion of lack of knowledge, right?
Right.
Where it's like that uncertainty.
They're on
Um,
the same page. Everybody knows the options.
right,
You know,
right.
probably probably makes conversing with one another easier. I mean, it's hard
Yeah,
when
like
when the kids want one thing and the parents don't know what they want and they're forcing something on them. But yeah, it's been interesting as a practitioner going out there and getting called and going over there and people don't know what they want to do yet. They're just like, well, tell me what my house is worth. Well, where are you going to live? And they're like, not sure yet. And I'm like,
right.
might want to figure that out.
And I think it really is about being a little proactive. Like I know it stings. It's like making a dentist appointment,
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you don't
totally.
want to do it, but you got to do it. Um,
And yeah, and I know I know our viewers are going to want to hear this part before we wrap up. But so what I would imagine I mean, people are concerned about cost. They may have to do a financial planning analysis. They have to look at how old they are, what the life expectancy is. Um, Obviously, families that have, where there's dementia or Alzheimer's. I mean, you know, my heart goes out to those families who have to go through that. My wife's, my father-in-law, had that. He did have to get some, care. But I mean, for the most part, my mother-in-law took care of him, and it was, oh my God, it
yeah,
was so hard. What a
really tough.
what a brutal. what a brutal last few years it was for her. And part of the problem was there was no money, or not a lot of money, and she
Sure.
wasn't going to live for a long time, so she had to kind of just grin and bear it. So I guess
Oh, tough,
real
man.
quickly, if you could talk about, the average cost maybe per week or per month for full-time in-home care, and then is there
Sure.
any insurance planning, or is there any things you recommend that kids can do?
Oh, yeah. Great. Thank you for asking that question, Alan. That's a huge one. So let's start with the insurance question and then we can talk about costs. Um, it is not inexpensive itself, but if you are a child of a parent or a younger parent, a younger grandparent or younger older adult, you may want to look into long-term care insurance. Now, the long-term care insurance industry has had some wonky things go on in the last decade or so. It's still, if you are able to get a policy that's from a good company, we serve a lot of clients that have long-term care coverage, and that helps absorb some or all of the cost
Cost.
of care, right?
But
Which is
can you get that? Can you get
tremendous.
that when you're 70 years old?
It's possible. So 70
Oh, okay.
is pretty late.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say you want to be like in your 40s or 50s.
yeah, like 50. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure the sweet spot is 55 to it's like
yeah,
60, somewhere around there.
yeah.
Um, But yeah, like if you're healthy, and they do underwriting on most policies, so you're gonna get underwritten just like you would for, life insurance or similar.
Right, right, right. But
Um,
let's say they're late to the party. They didn't do that, and let's say their family has $1 million. I mean, a lot of them are self-insured, right? There's definitely plenty of families in LA that have a few $1 million in the bank, and they're just gonna
right, right, and have planned for this in
yeah,
some way.
they're gonna self-insurance. They use those funds to care for them for the rest of their lives,
Right.
and then there's those that are short. So what do those people do? And then and before I finish, what is the cost, or is it worth sharing with our viewers what that actual cost looks like?
Yeah, definitely. As of right now, so it's January 21st, 26. Let's see, a year of round the clock care through a licensed home care agency, it would be anywhere from 300 to $375,000 a year, depending on case rate, need, caregiver type. So it's mind-boggling. And then
20
separately, the live-in unit with care family um, has a different structure, and it's just a different product altogether. But the cost basis there is a little lower. Care Family saves families about 75 to 125K a year. So they're looking at about 225 upwards to like 275, depending again on the care
through
and type.
through through care family to direct more like 250 to 275,
That's correct. Yeah.
$275 a year. So if we don't have the capital and it's needed, can you finance some of that? Or are there loan products? Do most people take out a home equity line of credit on their house to pay for that? Like, and by the way, if it's three, let's say call it $300,000 a year and they're gonna live 10 years, that's $3 million.
It's honestly, Alan, like this has changed so much in the last decade. Like essentially,
The prices have just gone through everything's gone up.
yeah.
So 10 years is probably not a good 10 years is probably not a good example. I mean, how long is your average in-home care set up for? Is it a year, 2 years?
Yeah,
Someone's
I
got to
think
be like pretty close to the end, unless they have Alzheimer's or dementia. They're pretty much able to take care of themselves until they're like, what, a year or two away from.
yeah, and like I would say, Alan, most people, while it's very common for us and like a core part of what we do, I would say most people don't start with 24/7 care.
They do.
They might do some short shifts, which JFS Care is able to staff something like 4 or 6 hours a day, maybe 1 or 2 days a week. So we do tend to retain clients for a really long time, compared to other agencies because our minimums for care are much lower.
Okay, but even if it's part-time care and you're spending $100,000 a year, if you don't have the money, where's it going to come from?
Yeah, I mean the honestly the I'm still learning a lot about this and maybe we can talk a bit more about this together is the reverse mortgage type products. I'm seeing a lot of activity in those fields. and I'm seeing a lot of activity from those partners who are having,
They're using
you know,
that money to pay
our
for.
care managers, right, our administrative staff are
Yeah,
calling upon those resources so that we can help families extend their runway and get the care they need and want, right?
yeah, it'd be nice to have some kind of like, hmm, you know, very low interest, almost like subsidized way for people to
Well,
borrow.
I would love to like flip the annuity model. I don't know if you want to record this or not, but like I
No,
would
it's
love
fine.
to.
It's all good. I mean,
I like
you're gonna
off
give
the
some people
record,
some
like
ideas. Well,
no,
look, I
I
mean, the reality is that there's so many boomers coming. So many boomers is a huge demographic of people that are getting to that age where they're gonna, be in trouble and
right, right.
need a plan for it. So
Well, I would love to see some a cool model emerge, and I think there's a lot of like we need more bright minds on this for sure. But I would love to see like instead of purchasing a long-term care policy, like for those couples that have or those individuals, couples, families, etc., that have the means, like I would love to see a specialty product for parking 100 grand, 200 grand, somewhere, whether it be index funds, something more conservative or less conservative, whatever that risk tolerance is, but solely for the purpose of building, 5 to 10 years of runway for
good
care,
amount
right?
of care.
Maybe it's tax advantage in some way,
Um,
right?
I think
Um,
it's interesting because the one thing I want to do when I get off this call is talk to my parents about what their long term plan is.
dude, that's a big one. It's a big one.
Yeah.
Alan, I didn't get to hear anything about what you do. Come on.
No, I mean, well, I mean, I announced that I sell real estate, so no, we just
That's embedded. Okay.
we work a lot. I'm in provisors, and obviously I'm on the advisory council for MAPS charities, um, and so I've been working a lot with attorneys across Los Angeles and helping um, their clients, mostly successor trustees, sell mom or dad's house, after they've passed. I just came back, a couple hours ago from an appointment this morning for somebody that lived to be 100, and she lived in her home. And as far as I understand, she lived fairly independently almost all the way to the very end.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And she passed away in her sleep. So if we could
Nice.
only be so lucky to live to be 100 and pass away in our sleeves, I think we'd sign up for that right now.
Yeah,
So
I'll take it. I'll take that too. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So we just go over there and help the family, and a lot of times they have stuff like house full of stuff, and sometimes they need help going through those. Not we don't go through. Usually the son or the daughter or the kids go through the house and hopefully before the parents have passed, they've shown their kids where all their valuable stuff are, and there's some kind of a plan in place. But after that, it's just, do I hire an estate sale person? Do I need an art appraiser? Do I, how do I go through and how do I dissolve the personal property and stuff like this? We give vendors for that, and then we advise and do the consulting on the sale of the home, what to do to it, if anything,
Okay.
to help facilitate the sale. Um,
So Alan, for you, not just sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, yeah,
The so if I've got a client or we have clients that are, let's say they may have sold a home already, but they actually they have to figure out what they're going to do with all this stuff. And this often happens with our urgent moves, right? There's like an event, whether it be stroke, heart attack, physical event, mental event, whatever that looks like. They look to our care managers for that kind of resource. Would you be a good kind of resource for?
100%. If you need a
Okay,
vendor, let me know.
cool.
Yeah,
That's great.
absolutely. Yeah, whatever you need. Whatever you need. Listen, we're here to help whoever needs it whenever they need it. And
All right. So I learned something today too. So
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. I mean, we've I think we've been doing this like 15 years now, and that process has like forced us to be able to find these vendors,
yeah,
right? Because the client says, "Hey, I need help selling my house, but before I do that, I need this, and that."
right.
You quickly pull those vendors and relationships together to help out. So, um,
Very cool.
all right. Well, it looks like my Zoom thing is talking to me. I think we're gonna like
Yeah.
we did great. This was awesome having you on, Ben. And again, for those of you that are, uh, your children that you're on YouTube or Google searching for video content on living at home, aging in place, You're looking for in-home care services. Do I move to an assisted living facility or get in-home care in Sherman Oaks, Studio City, Encino, or any part of Los Angeles? This video is for you, and please don't hesitate to share it. Ben, thanks for joining us, man. And
Thanks for having me, Alan. It was great
yeah,
talking to you,
we'll
man.
do it again.
All right.
Take care, man.
Take care.
All right, bye bye.